In a world where jealousy and ill intentions are everywhere, there are simple yet powerful ways to protect yourself. You might be surprised, but a simple onion can act as a shield against evil and even against those who wish you harm. Today, we will discover how, through practices inspired by Islamic wisdom and true stories from around the world, this humble vegetable can change your life. Stay with us until the end of the video. You'll never look at an onion the same way again. Before we continue, please let us know in the comments if you've heard of this practice and what you think about it. And please share this video with someone who might need spiritual protection today. Segment 1. The symbolism of the onion. The onion, so commonplace in our kitchens, hides a deep meaning. Its multiple layers represent the complexities of life, the trials we go through, and the protections we can create around us. In some Islamic and folk traditions, it is said that the onion can absorb negative energies and protect those who possess it. This belief is not only symbolic, it is accompanied by real stories of families who have felt a real change in their homes. For example, recently in Egypt, a family shared on social media that since placing an onion in a corner of their living room, they felt less tension among themselves and fewer arguments. They explained that the presence of this onion seemed to create an atmosphere of calm and security, almost like an invisible shield that warded off bad intentions. This practice also finds its echo in Islamic wisdom. The Qur'an teaches us to seek refuge in Allah from all forms of evil and jealousy. In Surah Al-Falaq, it is said, "Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the Dawn from the evil of what He has created." These verses, recited regularly, provide powerful spiritual protection. Placing an onion for protection can be seen as a tangible symbol of this protection, a concrete way of combining faith and daily practice. Many contemporary stories demonstrate the value of this approach. In Indonesia, a young man explained that since placing an onion in his room and reciting the protective surahs every night, he felt safer and less affected by the negative energies in his environment. He said that even tensions with his neighbors had diminished, as if the atmosphere around him had been purified. Thus, the onion becomes much more than just a vegetable. It becomes a symbol of protection, vigilance, and wisdom. Its layers remind us that life is made of layers, and that to protect ourselves, we sometimes need to combine faith, spiritual practices, and simple but powerful gestures. If you've never thought an onion could have such an influence, this story shows you that Islamic wisdom can be manifested in the most everyday gestures. And you? Have you ever used simple objects in your home to protect yourself? Tell us in the comments and share your experiences. Perhaps your story will inspire someone else to discover spiritual protection in the details of everyday life. Segment 2. Islamic teachings on protection. Islam teaches us that every human being is exposed to the influences of evil, whether it be envy, jealousy, or bad intentions. This is why Allah has given us means of spiritual protection, easy to apply in our daily lives. Among these means, the recitation of certain surahs of the Qur'an plays a fundamental role. Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Naas are particularly powerful. They teach us to seek refuge with the Lord of the Dawn and with the Creator of man from all evil, seen or unseen. These teachings are not abstract. Millions of Muslims around the world apply these verses every day and testify to their positive effects. For example, in Indonesia, a young man recounted that every evening after reciting these surahs, he felt an immediate calm in his mind and in his home. He explained that arguments with his roommates had diminished, and that even his professional projects were progressing more serenely. For him,
The regular recitation of these verses constituted a real protection against bad energies and the influence of malicious people. In another recent testimony from Turkey, a family was going through a period of recurring tensions in their neighborhood, between conflicts with neighbors and feelings of envy. After they began reciting Surah Al-Falaq daily and placing an onion in a strategic corner of their home, they observed a noticeable change. The atmosphere in their home calmed down, arguments became rarer, and they felt a lasting sense of calm. These stories show that spiritual protection, when combined with simple symbolic practices, can have a real and tangible effect. Thus, Islamic teaching is not limited to abstract faith. It guides us to take concrete action against evil. It reminds us to remain vigilant, to use the legitimate means God has given us, and to strengthen our homes and lives through prayer and the recitation of protective verses. Even a humble gesture, such as placing an onion, takes on its full meaning when combined with faith and regular practice. And you, how do you apply spiritual protection in your life? Share your experiences in the comments. Your stories may inspire others to discover these practices and feel the serenity they bring. Segment 3. The practice of cutting onions and its meaning. Over the generations, some Muslim families have passed down simple yet powerful practices to protect themselves from evil. One such practice involves cutting an onion and placing it in a strategic corner of the house, sometimes under the bed or near the entrance. This gesture, although simple, symbolizes an invisible shield that absorbs negative energies and wards off bad intentions. Contemporary stories confirm the symbolic effectiveness of this method. In India, a mother recounted that since she placed a chopped onion in her children's room, she felt a more serene atmosphere. Arguments between her children had decreased, and she felt less anxious about negative influences from outside. For her, the onion was not just a vegetable. It represented divine protection embodied in a tangible gesture. This practice is often accompanied by the recitation of protective verses, such as Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Naas. The combination of these symbolic gestures and recitation creates a harmonious and spiritually protected environment. As the Qur'an reminds us, seeking refuge in Allah is essential. Divine protection can be manifested through simple and repeated gestures, which strengthen our faith and our awareness of the invisible forces around us. In Pakistan, a young student reported that after placing an onion in his room and reciting the protective verses every night, he felt a decrease in stress and envy around him. He explained that even in tense social situations, he felt more confident and at peace, as if an invisible shield was protecting him. It is important to understand that it is not the onion itself that possesses magical power, but the gesture associated with faith, recitation, and intention. It is the combination of these elements that creates real, tangible, and spiritual protection. This simple gesture is a reminder that in Islam, symbolic acts, when guided by faith, can transform our environment and enhance our security. And you, would you be willing to try this practice at home? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments, because each testimony can inspire someone to protect their home and their mind in a spiritual and practical way. Segment 4. Real-life stories of protection and their lessons. Over time, many families and individuals around the world have testified to the power of simple practices combined with faith. These stories show how spiritual protection, when applied sincerely, can manifest in daily life. For example, in Turkey, a family facing constant tensions in their neighborhood began placing an onion in a corner of their living room and reciting Surah Al-Falaq and An-Naas every night. Gradually, they observed a decrease in arguments with their neighbors and a sense of calm in their home. The children slept better, and the overall atmosphere in the house became more serene. For them, this onion had become a tangible symbol of divine protection. In another recent testimony from Egypt, a trader complained of repeated attacks of jealousy from competitors. He began practicing onion placement and reciting the protective surahs daily. A few weeks later, he noticed that the conflict subsided and his business progressed without disruption. These real-life experiences show that symbolic practices, when guided by faith and intention, can have a concrete impact on lives. These stories are not only about protection from others, but also about purifying the environment and the mind. A young student in Indonesia explained that by placing an onion in her room and reciting the protective verses, she felt less stressed and more focused in her studies. She considered the onion a constant reminder of her faith and the divine protection that surrounds her. Important lessons to be learned from these stories. Spiritual protection is not an abstract concept. It manifests itself in our actions, in our faith, and in the regularity of our practices. Even a simple act, such as placing an onion or reciting a surah, can transform the atmosphere around us and strengthen our serenity. The key is sincere intention and trust in Allah. And you, have you ever experienced spiritual protection that changed your daily life? Share your stories in the comments. Your testimonies can inspire others to discover how faith and simple actions can create a safe and harmonious environment. Segment 5. The power of forgiveness and its connection to protection. Spiritual protection is not limited to objects or recitations. In Islam, forgiveness holds a central place. Repelling evil with good and forgiving those who have wronged us is a powerful form of protection. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, demonstrated time and again that forgiving one's enemies can transform relationships and create inner serenity. A recent story from Morocco perfectly illustrates this principle. A woman recounted that repeated conflicts with a neighbor had created stress and tension in her home. She chose to forgive her sincerely, praying for her well-being and reciting verses of protection. A few weeks later, not only did the arguments cease, but the neighbor became an ally and a friend. This forgiveness acted as a protective barrier, keeping evil and negative energies away. In another example, a young man in Indonesia was in conflict with a jealous colleague. After deciding to respond kindly and forgive offenses, he noticed a complete change in his work environment. Stress decreased, tensions eased, and relationships became more harmonious. This act of forgiveness, accompanied by prayers and recitations, served as a true spiritual protection. The Qur'an also teaches us the importance of patience and forgiveness. In Surah Fussilat, it says, "Repel evil with that which is better." This verse shows that true protection does not come only from objects or rituals, but from inner transformation and righteous action. Thus, combining symbolic practices, such as placing an onion, with sincere forgiveness and the recitation of protective surahs, creates a comprehensive approach to spiritual protection. It is not only a shield against others, but also a way to purify one's heart, mind, and home. And you, how do you practice forgiveness in your daily life? Share your experiences in the comments and inspire others to discover the protective power of forgiveness and kindness. Segment 6. Combining practices for complete protection. For true and comprehensive protection, it is essential to combine several spiritual and symbolic practices. Placing an onion in your home, regularly reciting protective surahs such as Al-Falaq and An-Naas, and practicing sincere forgiveness are all mutually reinforcing elements. Together, they create a powerful spiritual shield, capable of purifying the atmosphere and protecting your home and your mind. Families in Pakistan are testifying to the effectiveness of this combined approach. One mother explained that since placing an onion in her room and reciting the protective surahs every night, conflicts with her children had decreased and the general atmosphere in the house was more peaceful. The symbolic gesture of the onion, accompanied by the recitation and forgiveness, had a visible effect on their daily lives. Another example comes from Indonesia. A young man, stressed by conflicts at work, began to apply these practices regularly. He placed an onion in his room, recited the protective surahs, and tried to respond to tensions with his colleagues with patience and forgiveness. He observed a remarkable transformation, less stress, more self-confidence, and a more harmonious environment around him. This comprehensive approach shows that spiritual protection is active and effective when applied consciously and regularly. The lesson is that spiritual protection is not a single act. It is the result of a combination of faith, the recitation of sacred verses, symbolic gestures, and righteous action. Each of these practices affects a different aspect of your life. The onion symbolically absorbs negative energies. The recitation strengthens divine protection, and forgiveness purifies your heart and your environment. And you? Would you be willing to combine these practices into your daily life to feel more complete protection and inner peace? Share your impressions and experiences in the comments, because your testimonies can inspire others to protect their lives in a spiritual and practical way. Segment 7. Scientific perspective and concrete benefits of onions. Beyond its symbolic and spiritual dimension, the onion also possesses scientific properties that contribute to our well-being. Rich in sulfur compounds and antioxidants, the onion is known to purify the air, strengthen the immune system, and even reduce certain inflammations. These natural benefits make the onion a discreet but powerful ally in our homes. Several studies show that compounds in onions can neutralize certain bacteria and improve indoor air quality. So when you place an onion in a corner of your home, it's not just acting symbolically, it's also helping to create a healthier, cleaner environment. Contemporary accounts confirm these observations. In Egypt, a family explained that since placing an onion in their living room, not only did the atmosphere seem more serene, but they also noticed that the air in the room seemed fresher and more pleasant. Children breathe better, and minor winter ailments seem less frequent. This combination of science and symbolism shows that protection can be both spiritual and practical. Thus, the practice of placing an onion in the home is not just an act of faith or tradition. It can be accompanied by real physical benefits. Combined with the recitation of protective surahs and sincere forgiveness, this practice becomes a holistic method for protecting the body, mind, and soul. What do you think about the combination of science and spiritual symbolism? Have you noticed any positive effects in your home or a daily life? Share your experiences in the comments and help enrich this discussion on holistic protection. Throughout this video, we have discovered how a simple onion, combined with the recitation of protective surahs and the sincere practice of forgiveness, can become a powerful tool for spiritual protection and serenity. These seemingly simple gestures actually carry great power when guided by faith and constancy. The real-life stories we shared show that these practices work in everyday life. They ease tensions, purify the environment, and strengthen our connection with Allah. Whether it's reducing stress in the home, calming conflicts with neighbors, or simply feeling safe and secure, these actions resonate in the lives of many people. Remember, spiritual protection is not a single magical act. It is the result of a combination of faith, symbolic gestures, and righteous actions. Placing an onion in your home, reciting the surahs of protection, and practicing forgiveness creates a complete barrier affecting the body, mind, and soul. We now invite you to put these practices into practice and observe the changes in your life. And most importantly, share your experiences in the comments. Your stories may inspire others to discover these simple and powerful means of spiritual protection. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical advice inspired by Islamic wisdom. Thank you for watching to the end, and may Allah protect you and grant you serenity and peace in your home and heart.